Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Market today. Today I actually have some interesting observations because the Nifty index seems to be breaking above the 40-hour exponential average. Now, there is a little bit of confusion whether this will translate into a bigger up move, or will this falter at some point. There is an interesting setup that is developing, which I want to discuss, and then of course there are few stocks and sectors that seems to be looking up. So we'll discuss about that, and we'll discuss how to manage the risk as well in this session. So let me quickly share my screen. Okay, please someone confirm once you all are able to see my screen. Okay, and I hope you all are. Oh, sorry, my mic was mute. Are you all able to hear me now? And are you all able to see my screen? Can someone please confirm? Okay. Okay. Thanks, Paul. So, yeah. So let's talk on the Nifty index. So yesterday, we had spoken that Nifty is, probably seeing some bounce back. And honestly, I was expecting this upper band and 40 to act as a very strong resistance, but the Nifty has breached that and it has gone past that. So now, the thing is that what next is the question. So this is one level that I'm watching very closely. I mean, this was an HNS breakdown, and this level, if you see, is also nothing but 61.8% retracement of the entire decline, right? So let me just remove the background, and if I extend a bit, right? So the 61.8% retracement level is somewhere around 24,867. So now this is the critical level that I'm watching out for. I think if the 61.8% is broken on the upside, then what might end up happening is that, I mean, this is what I am expecting. If at all the 61.8% retracement mark breaches, then I would eventually expect that even this trend line will be broken on the upside. And once this trend line breaks on the upside, then basically this is the major resistance zone, right? Which we have been talking about, 250 to 160. Now, the reason why this high was important, because this high was nothing but 61.8% retracement of the entire decline. Okay, let me remove this retracement level. Okay, so this was the 61.8% retracement level. So as I mentioned, I mean, this HNS line, which is 61.8% retracement of the recent decline, I think if that is broken on the upside, then there are chances that eventually this trend line and this resistance breaks. And if that breaks, then whatever extreme shorting that we are seeing in the FI's positioning, that there is a good chance of a short covering as well. Because so far what we are seeing is that despite any up move, okay, there is barely any shorts that are getting covered. So basically they're still holding on to the shorts. So I think that if this trend line breaks and this resistance zone breaks, that's where basically all the important resistance level will then be broken. And if that happens, then eventually in the medium term we should see that big move that we have been talking about. But in the short term, there is a fight basically between the bulls and the bears, and that is what we need to watch out for. Okay, so just once again, the levels are, so the initial level is somewhere around this point, that is 24,870, which is also which is nothing but 61.8% retracement of the decline. Now, The reason why I'm telling you to watch this closely is because there are many stocks and indices, that we have spoken in the past. They have actually, sort of retested their breakout point. So if if y'all are following us, then please zoom in the chart. Okay, sure, I'll do that. So if you all are following us, then you would know that we have been talking of few sectors. Say for example, cement stock, FMCG stocks, then IT to some extent, FMCG, metals, and auto was the one that has already broken out. So these were few of the sectors that we have been speaking about. So now if you have to check the stocks, okay. So as I told you, all the agri and fertilizer related stocks. So the stock was, Sharda Cropchem. Okay. So here what is happening is that after a pullback, it has now come back to the 40-day exponential average, and it is consolidating a bit. Okay. If you see the pattern, if you do the weekly chart, okay, here there was a cup and handle breakout. So almost it has sort of retested that, and it is now kind of consolidating above that. So I mean, a lot of agri stocks are doing this. So this is one. Then I think insecticides had a greater decline, but over here also it has come back to the 40 week. If you see Dhanuka Agritech over there also, it has seen a meaningful correction from the upside, and now it is consolidating around the weekly averages. So that way there are many agri stocks, and then there are many cement stocks that are actually giving breakout today, or at least the RMI is turning bullish. So say for example, something like Deccan Cement. So it went up. After that, it saw a phase of consolidation, and now after taking support at the 40, it is now turning around. And over here also there is a bullish crossover in the RMI. I mean, potential crossover if the gain sustains. Then if you see Ramco Cement, okay, Ramco Cement also, there was this breakout and a retest. There was this breakout and a retest, and now again it is trying to make a comeback, and there is a bullish crossover over here. So the things that we were talking about, which was cement and agri. So in this nifty correction, they have also seen a correction, and they have sort of retested their breakout points. Now what we need to watch out very closely is that whether they are able to sustain above the daily average. I mean, break and sustain above the daily averages, and then eventually do they start making higher top, higher bottom. If those are the cases, then there is a good case for all these stocks to see a move in the short to medium term. That is because all of these sectors have been resilient. They have been trading above their weekly averages, and in the consolidation, what has happened is that, I mean, in this correction, what we have seen is that they have ended up retesting their breakout points. Now the other thing that I was also mentioning as well, which was, say, FMCG index, right? Over there also, now you can see that on the weekly chart, we have seen a bullish crossover. On the daily chart, it has been consolidating, and it was forming this sort of this head and shoulders pattern over here. That also it appears to be breaking out of from that. In fact, even if you see metal, okay, CNX metal, here also we are seeing some pickup in the momentum as well. And this also, we saw the weekly chart yesterday, it has gone sideways and it is holding over the averages. Now this is a good sign. uh, Once it breaks above the high of 9786, which is still some time away, but if it breaks above that, this can be a good indication that this entire consolidation is complete and it is trying to rise higher. Now, I'll tell you where my problem is in the Nifty index. So, as I mentioned to you, so let me just take an hourly chart. Okay, and I'll tell you where the problem is. If you see the daily swing, in this last 2 days of up move from 7 it has gone to almost around 74 or so. Okay, so if the 61.8% retracement of the recent fall is not broken on the upside, right, which is as I mentioned, it's somewhere around 24,870. If that is not broken on the upside and the swing ends up in this 80 to 90 phase, so then there is a risk that maybe a short term top could be formed. Now this short term top, whether it will again lead to a top and a next leg of decline. So wait, let me just show you. So whether something like this happens, where it consolidates and then again rises higher, or will this be a top and will we decline again? I mean, that is something that is not known at this point of time, because so far the price action is suggesting that the Nifty has not been able to make this higher top higher bottom structure as well on the weekly chart. So that is where my bit of a concern is. Now another concern which I have is the Nifty index largest component is nothing but the bank Nifty index, right? So if you see the bank Nifty index, I had mentioned this, that it has come back to a very important support level, and from here maybe there is a case of a bounce back. But on the daily chart, I mean, if you see any other indices, okay, any other indices, say for example Nifty index, it has broken the 40-day 40 hour exponentially decisively. Okay, if you take Nifty 500, that has broken 40-hour decisively, and all these indices have basically broken the upper band and the 40, both on the upside, and the bands are expanding. So these are showing actually positive signs. Even if you see mid cap, which has had seen a brutal correction, so over there also 40-day is broken and it is sustaining above that. Even in small cap we are seeing this, but it's only the bank Nifty index where the problem is. I mean, this has not been able to even touch the 40-day. Okay, so if at all the Nifty has to rise higher, it is very important for the bank Nifty to participate. That is because even if you see the hourly chart, it is sort of falling in a channel. Let me draw the channel. So this is like a channel the bank Nifty is following. Okay, so if the 40-hour breaks on the upside, then there is a good case for the bank Nifty to catch up on the upside. So yeah, I mean, bank Nifty not rising higher is a bit of a concern that I have. And the other concern that I have that I mentioned was the swing. Okay, so I think once we get those confirmation, I think the medium term structure looks very good, because as I had told you, I mean, once this happens, just to give you a context, why I'm waiting specifically for these levels to break on the upside is because you can see over here that whenever those oversold zones have occurred, right, after that we have typically seen anywhere between 12 to 20% kind of rally. I'll just show you that. Now see, this was an oversold, we saw a rally, so over here it was 18%. Okay, again in this correction we saw a rally. Okay, over here it was around 12%. Then we saw a rally from year to year. Okay, I'm taking this point because this was the highest point where the FI is long peaked out. This was 18%, right? This, it peaked over here, somewhere over here. This was 18%. From here, yeah, it was still around this high, somewhere around this high. Even this was 16%. So basically, even over here, if you see, it did not complete the full cycle also by going back to positive, I mean, the upper end. But over here also, if you see, almost we had seen a 15-20% kind of up move. So we have seen that in the past, whenever this oversold zone has been hit, and from there the Nifty index has turned around, we have seen those 12 to 18% kind of moves as well, right? So that's why I'm not in a hurry to catch a bottom. But one thing I know is that when this resistance zone is broken on the upside, okay, we are likely to get a very good move on the upside, which can be probably say 12 to 15% as we have seen in the past. Now, if I even have to do that, assuming this is the low, okay, so I'll have to compress the chart a bit. So even conservatively, if I take that 12%, I mean that might come to around 27,000 or so. So I'm just thinking that why to preempt this. So some bit of position maybe can be taken in that anticipation, but that too with a honestly a very strict stop loss, because the flip side to this is that if at all the breakout doesn't occur, okay, there is this inverse HNS pattern, which is, I mean, this is the head and shoulders pattern which is also developing. So so that's why at this point of time, I feel that it is like a no trade zone. We need to get some confirmation on either side, because whatever happens, either ways it goes, we can end up seeing a very trending move, be it on the upside or on the downside. I feel that the odds are on the upside. If at all we end up getting this breakout, I think that we can see those big moves on the upside. But because in the short term there is a lot of uncertainty which is there related to tariff and all, I won't be surprised, if there is some sort of shakeout that we end up getting, and only then we move upside. So that is what the broader thinking is. So the thing is that whatever are the strong stocks or the strong sectors, that we have been discussing so far since quite some time now. I mean, it is better to focus on that. Maybe stock specific, we might get opportunities, and maybe those can be looked at. But to paint a brush and say that everything will go up, I mean, we are not in that sort of phase at this point of time. Okay, so mainly these are the observations. In all these indices, be it mid cap 100. Okay, mid cap 100 is the one that has seen a big, I mean, it has seen a relatively strong gains, and it is almost back to the 61.8% retracement. So if you see this, it is almost back to 61.8%. So now it is very interesting to see what the mid cap does over here. I think if Nifty, if the mid cap breaks and sustains above this, and I think maybe this might be an early indication that we could be getting higher. But if it falters, okay, and we already know that the bank Nifty struggling to even break above the 40-hour exponential average, then there is a risk of some down move also playing out. So I mean, at this point of time, honestly, I'm at fence, but I'm watching the stocks and the sectors very closely, whether the breakout happens or no. In cement stocks, we are seeing the RMI giving bullish crossover. In many of the agri stocks also, I saw we are getting bullish crossovers. But we need some support from the market. If the market gets supportive, then probably these stocks might end up doing well. So yes, that is the broader thinking which I am working with. In fact, I am also looking for Nifty IT, what it does. The reason being, Nifty IT is, I think, the second highest weightage after the Bank Nifty index, right? So over here, also, it is almost at the 40-day exponential average. So I think if that breaks on the upside, maybe this can also be a little more supportive for the market, uh, to maybe end up crossing that 23,870 mark, which is like a major hurdle for the Nifty index, right? So that is what I'm seeing. That is what I'm thinking. Maybe if you all have also any observation, yeah, I mean, I'm happy to see your observations as well. But yeah, that is what the broader thinking is. So I think with that, I'm done. Showing the observations today. If at all you have any issues, or any understanding, I mean, if you need any explanation on the things that I have explained, then please let me know. Uh, so MK, you're saying that no one responds to your ticket. Can you please tell me what exactly the issue is? Because uh, because we have been I mean, there has been some issue in the past, and due to which we had a repetitive issues that people have told. So some of them we have already resolved it, some of them we are still in the process of resolving it. So MK, can you please tell what is the issue that you are talking about? Maybe, I mean, I can share with you the updates. Biju, I have. So you're saying that when is it that valuation screener is going live? I have mentioned this earlier as well. We have so far gone live with mostly all. So we have gone live with almost all the screens with 1 minute live. There are still couple of screens which are left, so that we need to work. Once we do that, okay, we need to stabilize the system, because right now the system has got a little slow. So we are working on that also to improve the speed. Once that is done, once all this cleanup is done, that's where we can start thinking of adding new things, because right now we want to make sure that whatever things we go live with in a new implementation, at least those should be totally bug free. So that's where even in valuations we are seeing some spikes. Those also needs to be resolved, and we are working on that. Okay, so give us few couple of weeks time, 2 to 3 weeks time. We are trying to stabilize all the issue one by one, and after that we'll start adding new features. uh, Ratul Ghosh, so you're saying that please update the Strike platform after 7:30. So please understand one thing, that after 7:30, okay, I mean, usually that is the system time, and that is where we get the data from NSC. After that, we update it. I mean, after that, I'm not sure what else to update, but all the delivery volume and all those high delivery scanners and all those things, those get updated after 7:30. But again, please remember that sometimes NSC also ends up giving the data at 8:39 also. And these specially happens during the week of expiry. So that's where, I mean, we are at the mercy of NSC data. So if we get it, we will be able to put it out. But typically, after the end of the day data, so maybe the system time will show 7:30. It won't show live timing. But once the EOD data is updated, that's where you will see the system timing, say 7:38, whenever that update has happened. So, I mean, after that, beyond that, there is no update as such. Uh, so, DV, sorry, I missed out. FMCG index is outperforming Nifty Energy also. Okay, let me have a look at Nifty Energy. I have honestly not seen that chart. Okay, we have seen some good move in the near term. RMI is also giving a bullish crossover. Uh, it seems to be breaking out from this trend line as well. But I'll try to draw one more channel, which is connecting low to low. I have to draw this. Fine. I think thanks for the observation. I'll keep this also index on the radar. But I think basically, if the 40-day exponential is broken on the upside, then it might get interesting. And even at the upper end, there is the 40-week as well. So I think this certainly looks like an interesting index. Need to see how it evolves, but definitely worth keeping on the radar. So thanks for the observation. So yeah, MK, this is actually a known issue. Basically, all the newly listed ones, there is some problem with the URL, due to which it is not getting displayed. So we have already made a note of this issue, and we will try to resolve it in due course as well. Please give us some time for that. Thanks for the update yesterday. No, Ratul, it did get updated. Uh, See, as I told you, I mean, the timings is something that we are at NSC's mercy, but which exactly the thing had not got uploaded. Can you please tell us so that we can also observe it? I mean, today in the evening as to what happens. So please, Ratul, if you can give specific screens which have not got uploaded, then I'll look at it, because valuation is one where we are facing some problem and we are working on that. DV Hen Petro. Okay. Okay. I mean, these stocks have not come on my radar, but let me check. Coal India. Actually, Coal India, I remember there is a lot of short positions that are built over there. Yeah, in Coal India, actually, it's falling nicely in a channel. I don't know. I think we had discussed about this earlier, but Coal India had a lot of short positions. I'm not sure what has happened of those short positions. Yeah. So basically, this was the phase when it was falling. It was a huge short that got built up, and actually at a lower low, mostly people covered their short. So yeah, the setup also actually looks interesting from the futures front. Let's see. But I'll also check the other stocks that you have mentioned. ONGC. ONGC has also gone sideways. I was actually very hopeful of this inverse HNS pattern which was developing, but so far it is dead. Weekly chart. In weekly chart also the bands have got compressed completely. I think this can also be a good setup to watch out for. Maybe this is the inverse HNS pattern that was developing. I was thinking that this was an inverse HNS, but maybe this can be the inverse HNS that could be developing. Something like this. So, anyways, let's see. Even this setup looks interesting in Petro. It has just come back in PCL. Yeah. These have all come to the 40 week or the previous low. NTPC, this has gone sideways. Power grid. I think if these have done well, then maybe PSU index might have also done well. Let me see what is. No, this is actually below the weekly averages. Daily averages also, so far it is below that, but we are seeing crossovers. So this index also needs to be seen. I mean, what it does. But broadly, maybe this can also be an inverse HNS pattern that could be developing. Let's see how things unfold. But this is also, thanks for the observation. This also looks interesting. We'll keep those on the radar. BDL. What's going on with BDL? This seems to be in a downtrend. Even the 40 are broke on the upside. I think these are all the stocks that were in flavor a while back and now they're dropping. I'm not sure what to do with this, because on the monthly and the weekly chart they have stretched a lot and they have gone up without any major correction as well. There is a big divergence also that is seen. So not a good sign. Textile stocks. Can you name any textile stocks that that are moving? Because I think maybe it is all the Trump issue and all those were going on. I can think of Vardhaman Textile. In fact, that is down. Gopaldas Export. Okay, that has seen some up move. I'm not sure whether this is more like a dead cat bounce or what, but mainly what is happening is that they have come to the previous important support level. So now maybe those levels are, I mean, the stocks are seeing some buying from those previous levels. I mean, that's about it, because right now, so far, they are in a downtrend. So as such, I'm not seeing any signs of reversal yet. The best case was that there are huge short. This forming lower low seems to be coming out of bears. Yeah, I think in Colgate also, I remember there was a lot of short position that was built over there, and the stock has also fallen a lot. And basically, this is an FMCG stock as well. So yes, you're right. At this bottom there was peak shorting, and from there has seen a good move. In fact, if I'm not wrong, Colgate, if I see the interactive chart of weekly or monthly, in fact it was monthly. Sorry, so it had come almost to the 40 month. This break of 40 month was scary, but now it is again trying to make a comeback. So this coupled with a huge short positions, maybe it can be an interesting bet to you know to see and monitor and see how it unfolds. So yeah, this setup also looks interesting, and moreover, at least on the daily chart, we have seen some higher top, higher bottom formation also that seems to be forming. Can you check copper chart relative? So strike the. I mean, we don't have the copper chart. But anyways, him copper, let me check. I'm not sure if there is anything that is there in the copper. I've heard a few things about Hin copper. Basically, they getting some rarer metal approval or something like that. I'm not sure. But so far, the chart is not that great, not showing strength either. Below the weekly and the daily averages. Honestly, not a good chart in the first look. Mm, Do you think this move in Nifty is identical to the one stock Reliance is incomplete over there too? Reliance, I don't remember it forming an inverse HNS. Let me just check. So which inverse HNS are you talking about? I don't know. I mean, this actually would end up becoming a cup and handle pattern. This cannot be inverse HNS. That is because inverse HNS are downtrend reversals, right? On the way up, I mean, in cup and handle, basically there is an uptrend. After that, a cup forms and then it goes to an up move. So yes, of course, Nifty also has a similar pattern. I mean, if you see it on the weekly or the monthly chart, you will see a similar pattern in the Nifty index as well. And of course, this is one of the largest stock in Nifty. So over here also the cup and handle is forming in the medium term. So yes, you're right. But I mean, this is a little too medium termish call. What I'm trying to say is that probably if we end up breaking 25 250 on the upside, then only I think the move will start. Of course, the breakout from the cup and handle pattern will further confirm it. So yeah, I mean the medium term setup looks very good, but it is only in the short term where I'm still very confused whether are we going to see something like this and then an up move, or will we see an up move right away? I mean, that is the only thing that I'm not too sure of. But as I mentioned, it's better to wait for the confirmation, because if the confirmation happens, then we have a good runway on the upside. But until then, we might end up chopping around and we might end up being on the wrong side as well. So that's where it's better to wait for the confirmation. Okay, so let's not talk much about the individual stocks now. Sectors will be helpful. Devesh, any alerts on indicators, hourly crossing, similarly traded quantity? So Devesh, all these things are there in the scanner. As of now, we don't have alerts, but you can see all these things in the scanner. So say, for example, you were talking about crossovers. So in whatever time frame you want to see a crossover, you can see it over here. Say you can see that there is a bullish crossover over here. And this is, I'm not just speaking about RMI, but even if you want for any other technical indicator, so say for example, crossovers can happen in MACD, right? So over here also this crossover is there. So all these results we are giving, okay, if you want a result from your specific watch list, you can also make those watch lists. So say for example, I have, say for example, a portfolio watch list. If I do this, then whatever is there in the crossovers, you can see it over here. Okay, but so far we don't have alerts. Maybe later date we will do that for sure, but at least in the near term we have some different priorities. But you will be able to see that. And as far as you mentioned that what are the volume gainers, so this also you can see it over here. You can see for example over here, say PNC, Gensol. In fact, I was checking this, all the sugar stocks are buzzing today because of the news. But in all these cases, basically, almost 10x of the volumes we are seeing right now. So you can spot those over here as well in the scanners. Okay, but so far we don't have alerts. So Sanjay ji, you had spoken about textile stocks. So Kitex, I mean, these are all the stocks that have seen waterfall decline. Maybe we are seeing some bounce back of that, is what I would think. APR, yeah, but we are seeing some minor bounce back. I mean, nothing major to write home about. So yeah, in fact, this will be a major resistance now, because over here there's a price action resistance as well, plus the averages and the upper band. So I mean, I am just seeing this as a bounce back after a steep decline. That's about it. Not reading much into it. So fine. Thanks a lot for joining today. So as I mentioned, I'll just recap it once again for the Nifty index. Wait, let me check it. So for the Nifty index, we need to watch out. Sorry. Okay, let me search it from here only. Yeah. So for the Nifty index, basically, what we need to watch out for is two things. Whether it manages to, break above the 61.8% retracement level or no, because that is an important resistance level. And when daily swing touches 80 or 90 mark, okay, how is it behaving after that? I mean, these are the two things that we need to watch out for. And apart from that, what we also need to watch out for is Bank Nifty index, whether it is able to break and sustain above the 40-hour exponential average or no. Okay, so far it is way below it. So these are the few things that I'll be watching out for, and let's see if we get some clarity based on that. So yes, I think that's all for today. Let's catch up tomorrow and see what Nifty does, and if we are able to get some confirmation or no on either side. So thanks a lot for joining, and see you tomorrow at the same time at 11 o'clock.